Hey guys, welcome back to the Everman's Odyssey podcast. It has been a crazy long time since we've gotten out an actual episode, but I'm super excited about sharing this next one. Recording an episode with my friend Austin, who is one of my coworkers. We just finished academy together and have now completed phase 1 of our field training program. So we talk a little bit about that, mostly just about our background and experience, and just have a good time talking to each other. Like I said, I know it's been a long time since we've put out any content, and as you can see, not in my normal setup. The room's actually right in front of me here, but it's been torn apart with some of the maintenance going on in the house. So we've got rooms being pushed around and just a lot of craziness that's kept me from being able to keep up on the content. But I'm back now, and hopefully even through this field training program, we'll be able to keep up with new content and keep pushing that out. So please stay engaged. Let me know what you'd like to see. If you have any questions about where I'm at now in life or what the field training program is like, go ahead and leave some comments or questions. We're not going to get too specific on, what agency or policies or anything like that, because that's not what this podcast is about. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Thanks. Thank you for doing this. I know it's super weird and been talking about it since like January.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do it like while we were in academy. I thought it would have been a lot of fun to like go out either to Joe's place or to a restaurant or something and get everybody involved. But I don't know. Academy took up way too much of my life.
We'll have to drag him on here.
Yeah, I mean, you just show up at his house, like, hey, you must have a spot, we'll go.
Guy's probably too busy, learn more defensive tactics.
Yeah. He's probably teaching a class on the side, actually.
Yeah.
All right, for everybody who doesn't know you, which is everybody, introduce yourself. We've only known each other since 2 weeks before academy, so December of last year. So yeah, just a few minutes talking about yourself.
All right. I don't even know what I was supposed to do. Give full name?
Yes. I mean, you don't have to. Just first name's fine.
All right. Well, Austin, 33 years old. So little late in the game, I'd say. Started in the county as an animal regulation officer. Did that for about a year. From there, I went into the jail where I spent my last 4.5 years. Actually applied to the city prior to the county. Didn't make it through that first go around, went to the county, and I think I knew that I wanted to be at the city, but you kind of get established and you don't want to leave.
Right.
Being stuck in a jail, though, you don't want to. When that opportunity comes knocking, it kind of makes you think about it a little more. So I did. I took that opportunity and ended up at the city.
Okay. Do you, like, when that happens, do you feel like you kind of picture your life like, okay, in 10 years, I can either be at the jail or I could be outside, or is it just one of the things like it's like a promotion, so you might as well just take it while you can?
No. I actually never wanted to go to the jail. So it was always my intent to figure out how to get out to the streets.
Okay.
However, like when I took my conditional job offer as the animal regulation officer, I remember sitting down with the sheriff and undersheriff, and they're like, "You can always promote to the jail." I was like, "I don't want to. I don't want to do that." And I think a lot of that revolved around. I spent almost 10 years of my life working with adults with developmental disabilities in a residential home. It was a good experience, and I don't regret doing that at all, but I kind of wanted to get out of that. I kind of felt like even though I didn't have the experience, the jail was going to be a lot like that, which it was. But taking a foot in the door position as the ARO, I started seeing my paychecks too, and I was like, it was the worst paying job I had in my life. Like I don't know that I've ever been paid less. Yeah. It was pretty rough.
And how long were you the ARO?
A year.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an awesome job. I loved the job.
Yeah.
From what I understood, when the county took it over, nothing really got budgeted or changed from it. It was just part of the animal shelter in the county.
Okay.
So the pay was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. We had the benefits, but the pay was bad.
I want to come back to like the developmental disabilities thing, but I should know this. But how long have you been with your wife?
Me and my wife have been together since, I'm terrible with years. It was the summer going into my senior year of high school.
Okay.
So I graduated in 2010. So I don't know if it was 2009, 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then 2 kids.
Yep.
And so when you make that decision to go from what you're doing before to go into ARO, to go into the jail, and then go to patrol, what does that process look like between you and your wife? Because I know like Nicole and I, there were a lot of conversations, and it was like years in the making before we finally made that decision to do that, but it was something that she had known was on my mind for a long time.
Right. So I think for me, like I feel like I sacrificed a lot to get to this point, but I think about it and I'm like, really, my wife's the one that sacrificed a lot. Like she's put everything on the back table because she's always known since high school this is what I wanted to do.
Okay.
It wasn't originally at the age of 18 like, oh, I want to go be a cop for the city. My idea was I wanted to go be a game warden for the state, and at the time the requirements was you were just 21. You didn't need no schooling, nothing. So out of high school I kind of just worked, and I was just waiting to turn 21 to throw that application in.
Right.
Turned 21, threw that application in, and got a call back from a background investigator asking where my attachments were for my college credits. And I was like, I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned that it had just previously changed within about like the last year that required that. So it sent me down a slope of going to school. Ended up getting everything I needed for that, but never ended up ever applying for DFG.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So you got a degree?
Yeah. Well, no, I got the core credits required for what they
okay.
needed. I think I have enough credits overall to apply for a degree. I just never applied for one.
Got it.
Yeah.
I had another question, but I forgot what it was, so I'm gonna crack that. That one's not as good. Okay. We're actually probably going to talk about work most of the time. So before that, what do you do for fun? What do you do like with your family for fun? Because I know you've lived here in the area pretty much, right, your whole life?
Whole life, yeah.
Okay. So then you know the area pretty well. So like, what do you guys do? I mean, I know a little bit, but
yeah. So we like spend a lot of time on the lake.
Okay.
We're real big into camping. My kids are very fortunate. I don't think they understand it, but like me and my wife, prior to them, we were always tent camping.
Yeah.
So we were lucky enough to be able to get a little pull-behind camper.
Nice.
We pull up to the mountains and go do some fishing. And we like going out to the lakes. We go out to the lake, do some fishing on the lakes too.
Okay.
Hang out, swim. So that's a lot of what we do as a family. Every year we like to plan a trip, go watch NASCAR.
Nice.
Best sport there is. So it's on every Sunday, most Sundays out of the year. Doesn't end as soon as football. So it's a pretty cool experience, and it incorporates the camping too. We pull the trailer up there. Kids have a good time, really family-friendly event.
Nice.
And then I spend a lot of time hunting too during the hunting season.
Okay.
Run the dogs, chase birds. My daughter's really gotten into it lately, so that's been cool. Like she's always down to she's my buddy. She'll go anywhere.
Really? So she's still doing the horse thing?
Yeah, she's still barrel racing.
And she's getting up early in the morning with you to go hunting?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun.
We try and let her miss one day of school each year to
come really?
out with us. Yeah. Quail season opens.
I think that's one thing. Like, I wouldn't say we were bad at it because it was a conscious choice. So like, my middle, she missed not a lot of school, but I think we would let her like skip days to make memories with family. Like she's doing really well in class. Like they're coming home with homework no matter what. Like it's like, yeah, she can skip today. Let's go. Yeah, let's go to the lake or let's go hike in the mountains. I feel like that was more valuable to my kid than
I think it is, and I think it could be more educational.
right.
And I know me and my wife researched it. I was stuck in the jail so long, and I didn't know, I'm getting older. Like, is this going to happen for me?
Mm-hmm.
And we really looked, because we enjoy camping, like, hey, what if we just bought a fifth wheel
Mm-hmm.
and just did full-time traveling and watched all these videos of people doing it, and hats off to those people. But, I mean, just, like, you talk about the kids and missing school, like, what they're doing for homeschool is just so, it's invaluable what they're getting.
Yeah.
And it's pretty neat, and you're teaching them stuff that they can actually apply to in their life later on,
Right.
not just, here's this style of math that you will never use again in your life.
Yeah.
Man, my daughter's 9, brings me home homework, and I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
Like, and the stuff I do know, I look at it like, how do they expect you to know? Like, they're just teaching you how to read, but they're adding math and numbers in here and wanting you to do the math problem. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and everything's
That's
so
crazy.
different. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's funny that you mentioned that, like, you guys were thinking about doing full-time, like, fifth wheel stuff, because there was, I don't know, probably a good year and a half where Nicole and I were talking about, like, let's just buy a bus, travel full-time, like, try and find a way to work remotely and homeschool the kids. And we really wanted it. And we found a guy who was selling a bus just south of town. Yeah, watching all these videos. All right, how can I restore this thing and build it out? And I'm learning on how to do all this stuff, and it never ended up happening. Like, and I think one of the biggest things was, like, I don't know what we would do for the dogs. Like, I'd feel so bad to have them just crated all the time, and then trying to find a place, like, okay, if we get a bus, because it's going to be a bigger vehicle, because we got 3 kids and these 2 dogs, like, finding places to park. And I think the logistics of it just kind of intimidated me, and we ended up not doing it, which isn't really a regret. Like, it was really fun to dream about doing that, and it would be fun to do that, but I don't know, things work out. I'm glad we didn't do it, and now we're homeschooling, at least for the time being, homeschooling the middle one. The youngest will probably be starting homeschool this year, and my oldest is in this weird not homeschooling but homeschooling, like, charter school kind of thing. And so we still get to do that. We still have, like, more freedom with our schedule, but just don't get to travel like you lived out of a bus. But that also comes with some perks, because looking at, like, the composting toilet setup and doing that on the move, like, that didn't sound fun. Oh, and this was, I don't think, like, we were looking at that before Starlink was even a thing. So, like, figuring out how to do the internet, like,
Right.
it would have been cool though to, like, just travel full time, and that was, like, the biggest motivating factor, was thinking about, like, the memories that we would give our kids.
Exactly.
Like, figure out how to make money on the move and just take our kids to national parks, like, all around the country, and it'd be teaching them homeschool and the curriculum that they absolutely have to have, and then just the rest of the time, like, educating them about real life and skills and being in nature, which I think is, to me, one of the most important things. Like,
Yeah.
I love being outside, and don't get to do it enough, obviously, but at least we've done it enough to, like, my kids love doing that. Like, there's always going to be some sort of complaint when it's, like, an hour and a half drive to get to this mountain hike that I want to do or something, but they love doing it. And so at least we can still focus on that without doing a full-time, like, bus rig.
And, just my opinion, I don't know that it would work, but I think of myself as being a kid, and I barely passed history,
Yeah.
even through high school. Hated it. Later on in life, like, I really love it, but
Mhm.
I think it's, like you said, you get to see these places. If you can go learn about the history, like,
Yeah.
that is interesting. Instead of reading about some guy that's 6 names in his on his birth certificate, and you're
Yeah.
like, this is what he did. It's like, okay, like,
So,
11 years old, like, lunch is in a half hour.
right. Yeah, and I think it was so different for us growing up, because, like, I'd get out of school or on the weekends or whatever, and I would just disappear on my bike. Like, I mean, my friends would go out to a creek somewhere or just go out in town and I don't know, super cliche and old, but like come home when the street lights come on and just kind of had that freedom. And honestly, like I would never let my kids do that now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even let them go out in the front yard without me having or somebody having an eye on them.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of freedom as a kid to go and learn and explore and adventure because it was a different time, or at least we perceived it as a different time. Like, so yeah, as a parent now, I have to be way more intentional about making sure that they get that time to go
Right.
explore or be creative or have some sort of like independence, I don't know, in the wild, because I can't just like kick them out the door, lock the door like my kids or like my parents did, and like,
Yeah.
hey, when it starts getting dark, you can come home. Like I can't do that now.
No, no. That, I don't know. I think of like things that I did, and like, wouldn't say I did anything too terrible, but I mean, if me and my buddies were outside and we weren't like playing basketball in the front yard, you know, we was probably out in the field chewing Copenhagen, coming back using the neighbor's rear view mirror in their car to, you know, pick the Copenhagen out of our teeth before we
Oh
went
my
back in.
That's funny. When did you start doing that?
God, I started chewing in 6th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. It's like my grandpa, you know, lived in this house and he chewed, Copenhagen long cut like all the time, and it never even occurred to me as a kid to even try it. Granted, I was a pretty boring, like, well-behaved kid. I didn't really get into trouble that I can remember. Nothing serious, anyways. But Grandpa never offered, never wanted it, so I never tried it. But and even like in the military, guys would start like just on purpose wanting to develop this habit before deployment, and I did not understand this. These guys, you know, 19, 20 years old, I'm going to start dipping before we go to Afghanistan, and they'd be just puking in the barracks trying to like develop a tolerance for it. Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
Which, and yeah, like I brought a can of Copenhagen today.
Mhm.
I rarely buy one, but I quit chewing. I chew those Zins. And what surprises me is how many people you see that are chewing Zins and like newly aged 21-year-olds that never chewed prior to that. But
right, you're not even
I'm like,
replacing
how do
something.
you pick up that? How do you pick up that habit? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm marketing.
Joe
I
Rogan,
guess.
that's how it is.
Yeah,
He's
probably.
promoting them Zins.
That's what it is.
He's selling the whole little lower your chances of dementia. I think that's where I heard that.
Not from Zens though, is it?
Nicotine.
Really?
They say it reduces the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. Learned that on Joe Rogan's podcast. Don't know if it's true.
Yeah, right. Like, well, I might have to start just to hedge my bets.
Well, I know though, we're living in this new world, so Joe Rogan said it's true.
It's true. That guy,
As true as Dolly Parton sleeping on her back.
he says all the time, like, don't listen to me, don't take my advice. But he's like one of the only people on the internet where I'd be like, he can say something and I don't believe that he has an agenda. Like, he might be wrong, but he doesn't even know it. Like, he's just saying what he actually believes. There's no like corporate buyout or political agenda. He's just going to say stuff.
Yeah, he needs to just like do a trial run and say that some stock market's going up, just see how many people buy
Right?
into
Just
it.
see.
Maybe if he would have done it, GameStop would have stayed around. Yeah, who knows?
Right? The GameStop here closed down. I almost never go there, but I'm still sad because I'm still kind of a nerd. And so it's like a fun thing to do with the kids. Like, even if we don't spend any money, like, let's go to GameStop, go look at Pokemon or something. And now the closest one is 40 miles away again. With
Everything's online.
yeah. I was kind of hoping that, like, 'cause I don't remember, it was a couple years ago or a while back, like, GameStop was tanking. And then they were doing these short sales, and then, I don't know, nerds banded together and shot the stock price up like 2,000%. Like,
Yeah.
made a little bit of, like, nothing to brag about. Like, oh, sweet, like, it actually paid off having GameStop stock, and then
Yeah,
sold
and
it.
tanked.
Yeah, then it tanked again because I don't think a place like that can long-term really, like, compete in an online
Right.
marketplace. Like, the games are all digital. You don't own any of your stuff. Like, what's the
No.
point? But
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably been a couple of years now because I think they even made a newer version. But I know us as a family, like we went out and bought one of those Nintendo Switches.
Yeah.
We were going ham on the Mario Kart every night, like all four of us. Right. We had a little controller thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting it.
You know, my kids love. Yeah, we have a Nintendo Switch, and my wife grew up playing Nintendo, so they love Mario Party, Mario Kart. I didn't really. I think I had like an original Nintendo that my grandma had, and so we would play like the little motorcycle games or stealth fighter games or something. But that was it, just like straight up regular Nintendo until I got the original Xbox back in 2001. And so my wife was raised on Nintendo. She loves all the Mario stuff, and the kids love the Mario stuff, but I'm more of an Xbox fan, and which is all just very nerdy, not super like family oriented games. So they're really great at that, and I'm terrible at it. So like my 9-year-old can kick my butt. Mario Kart, Mario Party, like I'm just no good at it. But there's been a few times where like I'll convince my wife to play Halo, and then I can actually do pretty good. But now I don't play as often as I used to.
Yeah, I don't either, and I think a big part of that is it. And there's probably a way to do it. I'm just not that smart. I can't even set a ringtone on my phone. So, but like I used to play, and then as the kids got older, like a lot of the games are more geared towards like everybody wants to play online, so they can play with someone they know.
Right.
And you want to have it turned up so you can hear, but you always got somebody on there just MFing someone else.
Yeah, something that you don't want the kids to hear.
Yeah, you can't. I can't play this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't even play online anymore just because, like, one, you have to mute everybody so your kids can't hear. I don't have the time, and I just can't be competitive. I don't think it's because I'm too old. I think it's just, like, I don't play enough to actually, like, play online and have a good time because you just get destroyed.
Yeah.
But
it was like, I think one of the ones that I would play online was a Battlefield.
Okay.
And I don't remember which edition it was, because I think they made a crap ton of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'd only ever played one, a new one came out, and I went to play it, and it was like, even their online games was like an hour and a half to complete that game, like with the guys not. And I was like, I can't not devote that much time
to exactly.
Sitting here playing an hour and a half game.
Yeah. I like playing Battlefield games, so yeah, like, I'd stop playing them because, like, every once in a while I'll get like 20 minutes to play, and that's fun. But yeah, you can't even finish a whole match in 20 minutes. I used to play, like when I was overseas, I would play Halo 3 with my dad. And that's how, like, I wouldn't call him on the phone. He'd just get on his Xbox, I'd get on mine, and we'd play Halo 3 for half an hour and talk on those little headsets. And so that's like a fond memory of like being able to communicate like that, because I do not like long phone conversations.
Yeah.
I don't like long conversations at all, which is weird considering I have a podcast, and sometimes those conversations are like 3.5 hours, but I hate being on the phone. So like playing video games while talking to my dad is something that I really enjoyed back then. But
I just know if my kids get into video games later on, I'm sure they're going to be really advanced.
Right.
And I'm going to be that old guy at that point that I'm going to be like, you guys don't even know. Like, I was a kid, I don't even remember what Xbox it was, but we got the Ring of Death, and to get that thing to work, we had to wrap it in towels and let it overheat. Yeah. Like, what? That's not real.
Oh,
and I joke so much, they're going to think I'm lying.
Yeah. I did that. That's funny.
The Ring of Death.
Uh-huh. I know, when that one came out, I think I had like 3 of those Xboxes in a row.
360, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would just, Red Ring of Death. You walk into Best Buy, like, hey, Red Ring of Death. They're like, okay, go grab a new one. And then, years later in my business class, when I was going through flight school, we had to pick a business to do a report on, and I picked Microsoft because I'm an Xbox nerd, and they lost $1 billion on the Xbox 360 launch just from replacing all the hardware.
Good Lord.
It's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they did wrong other than some sort of like weak soldering inside. I don't know that stuff. Like, that's a lot of money to lose because you screwed up one tiny little thing.
Yeah. I just kept wrapping it in that towel, let it overheat and play. And it seemed like every time you kicked that thing on, you'd have to do it.
Jeez.
I remember being at my grandparents' house. They're like, what are you doing? It's like, I don't know. This
I don't
kid's
know.
at school, so this is going to work. This is the trick.
It's either going to work or it's going to burn the house down.
Grab a fire extinguisher because I ain't never seen this. And I know you're going to learn today.
Oh, that's funny. So you said you've known since high school, like you've known you wanted to go into law enforcement in some capacity, which at first was fishing game.
Yeah, I wanted to be a game warden just because I enjoy fishing and hunting, and I think when you're younger, you're not really planning for your future.
Right.
So you see some of the stuff those guys do, and hats off to them, but they're out in the middle of nowhere, might come up and contact 30, 40 people.
Right.
Growing at a campsite. Everybody they contact has a gun. For the most part. I mean, I'm sure they get some fishing violations here and there, but, during the hunting season,
right.
It's not them bringing a gun to the fight. Like, everybody's got a gun. It's like Alaska.
Right.
So, I think after I had my first kid, I started thinking, more about, I don't know if I'm willing to risk everything.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to do that now, but we have more resources available to us in a timely manner,
So then how does that evolve from going from fishing game to be like, oh shoot, I don't know about that risk that's involved because now I have kids, to not only am I going to not do fishing game, I'm going to actively patrol city streets, and what does that mindset change like? I
think just knowing that you have those resources readily, we got the SO, we got CHP, weird, as much as I've grown up hunting and fishing, never see DFG, never run into any wardens. But you see them all over in the city.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. But
yeah, I've never seen them out in the wild, but I've run into them at the park here.
And I don't know much about the agencies, but even the people that DFG had an academy going with ours, and they're still there. And I talked to quite a few of them, and I was kind of blown away when I asked them their hunting background, and I want to say 75% of the class did not come from a hunting background.
Really?
And I was just that's crazy. I thought that was a requirement.
Right.
You got to be 21 to go to a bar. You got to
right. You got to hunt to be fishing game.
Not only that, but I think it's crazy. Even my knowledge, and I used to duck hunt a lot, and I could probably look at some pictures of ducks right now, and it would take me a minute to think what is that species. So without that knowledge, you're talking about orientation of a job.
Right.
And just having to learn all of that and come across the feather and be able to identify it to what it is. So they got a big task at hand.
Yeah.
All those people without a hunting background.
Did you talk to any of them to find out, okay, if you don't have that background, what made you want to do this?
No, everything was kind of brief. I talked to two guys, I think, that I ran into in the bathroom and just asked them what they did. And when they told me that, I kind of just ran with it every time I seen one. I would just ask them, hey, what do you hunt for in your free time? And yeah, I was surprised at how many people were just oh, we don't hunt. And we had a state parks in our academy, and I was talking to one of the guys that was roommates with some DFG, and it kind of seemed like he knew one or two also that applied for state parks, but also applied for DFG, just kind of shotgunning applications.
Okay.
And got picked up with that agency, so.
Okay, I was wondering, maybe it's the literal opposite. No, I don't hunt. I love ducks so much. I want to protect them. I'm going to go to academy and protect the ducks and the deer.
I got a niece, and she hates that being her dad hunt ducks.
Yeah.
She's just not like it. She gets real sad about it.
I've never been hunting. I think I went with my dad once, I don't remember if it was dove or something, quail maybe. I was 8 or 9. Went one time, didn't actually shoot. I just sat there and watched my dad and his friends, do all the hunting. And I've never gone. I would like to go hunting someday, but I know my kids, when I talk about oh, I'd really like to go deer hunting someday, or get into archery and learn how to hunt that way. I have 3 girls, and they all hate the idea of me killing an animal. But then you look yeah, exactly. That's why I tell them, hey, you want to eat, right? Those are some delicious dino buddies. A chicken had to die.
Yeah. Yeah, I fell into bird hunting by not really mistake, but I got a bird dog because I was doing a lot of duck hunting. And she just had this natural ability to point quail, and there was a spot where we'd go out and she would point a lot of quail. And so there was a shift from duck hunting to quail hunting, and you kind of just get hooked. Some people go blow off steam, they want to golf, or figure out what they're going to do at the end of the work week.
Yeah.
And it's not even so much about shooting those birds. It's just so nice to just go out and hike. At least for me, I don't like hiking.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy the scenery, I enjoy all that, but there's got to be a purpose. And for me, I don't think I'm fulfilled by just knowing, like, if I hike 4.5 miles, there's a great view of the river down there. Like,
you want to get something
great,
from,
but Google put some pretty good high definition
Google images.
out there,
Yeah, that's fair.
So, it's you're exercising your dog.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to get birds, but
Right.
there have been plenty of times I've been skunked, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I got to go out there, they got some exercise. I got a little exercise.
I think that was actually probably one of my favorite things about flying is obviously it's different for a myriad of reasons, but it's kind of like fishing. And I haven't been fishing in a really long time, but like what I loved about flying is that pretty much nothing else matters. Nothing, like whatever you were worried about before you took off, like you're not worried about now. Like you're in the helicopter, you do your thing, and all you're thinking about is flying. And that was super relaxing, like, and I loved that. And obviously, I haven't flown in a really long time. And I think I need to get better at committing to habits that have that sort of effect on me. Because, like I said, I love hiking, but I really love going up in the mountains, which means you got to drive quite a ways. So it's a commitment to actually go do those trails. And like video games is fine if I can't actually go anywhere and do anything, or like short little drives and playing around with photography, but I need to find something, especially now. Like I'm excited about patrol, but I also want to be very cognizant of the fact that like I need to have healthy coping mechanisms. And so like I communicate pretty well like with my wife, and obviously we've had time to prepare for this type of lifestyle, but I think I need to get better at committing to something that has that effect where it's like super relaxing. This is what you're focused on, and you can kind of just leave everything aside. But yeah, I think that's another reason I would like to get into hunting, because it's the same thing like flying. Like, okay, if you go, I'm assuming like, you go hunting, you're not too worried about whatever was going on back at home, or certainly not at work. Like you're just out with the dogs doing what you got to do.
And your focus is elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, and I think in our jobs, it's important for us to maintain that level of physical activity.
Right.
And that's one of the things that really pushes me, especially bird hunting with 2 dogs. Like I'm packing in a vest. I got water for myself. I got water for the dogs. I got shells. I got a first aid kit for them in case something happens. I got collars. I got leashes. I probably need to go through it because maybe the kid stuck rocks in there or something. I don't know. But, it's pretty heavy. It's not a light vest. And you pack that around, and it's, when there's a purpose for me when I'm hiking, I feel better about it otherwise. Right. And even if you told me, hey, you're not going to shoot any birds today, I'd still go out.
So then,
knowing there's a chance.
No, okay. So it's still not about the hike. It's about the possibility of the payoff, even if there isn't a payoff technically. Yeah,
like in the off season, I'll go check out some spots, and I'll just take the dogs. I know I'm not going to shoot anything.
Okay.
And I don't even know that I'm going to see anything, but I'll take them out and run it, and it's the same kind of thing. Like
it's just a training exercise.
You're hoping you see them point and walk up on something.
Okay.
Hope it's not a ground squirrel.
Oh, my wife texted me the other day, like, because I told her, like, hey, I need to start working out, and she agrees, like, yeah, at least this many days a week, you need to be doing this, and we'll go to the gym together. So I told her the night before, like, all right, I'm going to get up, a couple hours before really I need to. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to do this. And then the kids, like, kept waking up all night and climbing in bed and kicking me, and so my alarm went off. And I was like, nah, screw it, I'm not working out today. Change the alarm, go back to sleep. And then she texted me later that morning. She's like, hey, like, did you work out? Like, no, I was tired. And she's like, yeah, like, you got to do something. Like, you have to stay fit. And it's super easy for me to like stay active when it's hiking or doing something fun.
Right.
But I'm terrible at doing something that I don't want to do.
The working out is, and I think, I don't know, I said it before, I don't want to crap on it, but our PT sessions during the academy,
Mm-hmm.
if they were more focused and more, I think it was great for cardio.
Yeah.
The cardio was great, but as far as the weightlifting, working out, you never really built on it. It was kind of like spurs here and there.
Right, and it felt like a random session.
Yeah, and I'm not a big guy. No, I'm a little guy. So I don't know everything I'm saying, but just like in the times when I was doing good and working out, once you hit that peak of like, like I'm miserable for a month, this sucks, I don't want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but you start seeing that progression after that, and you stop thinking about it less as like, oh, that sucks, and something like, oh, I just need to go get this done real quick, and just, it becomes routine.
Yeah, right.
And I was going to hit you up on Monday to see if you wanted to go before work, and I got sick over the weekend from the kids, so I was like, oh, I'm not going. Then we had DTAC.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, that kicked my ass.
Yeah, so yesterday, yeah.
I'm still sore.
Before DTAC, I got up early. I was going to do a workout. Like, oh, shoot, we got defensive tactics today. Like, maybe I won't hit the weights too hard. I'm just going to go into the gym at work. I'm going to run. And I go in there, and there's no treadmill. The treadmill broke. Like, oh, shoot. All right, well, I'll do the rowing machine, and I'll do the stair stepper, and spend some time. And I'm like, all right, well, at least I can say I did something. And then found out, oh, yeah, we're doing a 1.5 mile run. Like, okay, well, there's my run. And then we're going to go do, 5-6 hours of wrestling with someone who is vastly stronger and more skilled than us. So that definitely kicked my butt.
It was great, honestly, though. Like, it was some of the best, I think, defensive tactics training that I've had.
Yeah, because it felt, I don't know, maybe
it wasn't going through the motions, but just the end of like getting to test us and us actually exerting ourselves, and not exerting ourselves from trying these different moves all day in a hot room, and we're hot and tired, but just absolutely pushing ourselves to the limits.
Right, and to credit the academy, I think a lot of like our ability to learn and absorb from the instruction yesterday is built upon like the foundation and even that base level confidence that we got from being exposed to it in academy. Because I feel like if we didn't have that and then went into DTAC yesterday, I wouldn't have really grasped anything, and I would have just been flailing my arms around trying to find an opportunity. So academy gave us that foundation, but even still, like the training that we got from the department yesterday, it still felt way more like based in real world situations, which, one of the instructors even kept saying over and over again, like, hey, in the real world, you're not worried about, okay, steps A, B, and C to get to D. It's just like, you're in a fight. What are you going to do to get into a winning position? Because the goal is to win the fight. It's not about your technique, and there's no judge scoring how you did the move. It's just, do you understand how to get from losing the fight to winning the fight?
Right.
So I thought yesterday was really valuable.
Yeah, no, it was. And as intimidating as it was to start out with, like when they told us what we were going to do, I mean, we've, even in the county and all my defensive tactics that we've done, is we didn't have that aspect. And I think they're doing a really good job in the city with that, how they're changing it, as far as we don't want to create injury, because that's not the goal, but we are going to push.
All right.
And yeah, it's just different than anything I'd had.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're going up against a guy that's wrestled his whole life, and as the instructor, it's just, and the guy over at the county teaching it, great guy, really applies himself to it, does it on his off time, willing to train people on his off time.
Right, and he does it for free.
And so I've learned a lot from him. Even our captain now, I've gone over there, and the captain's been over at his place, and we would do some defensive tactics training. I think he probably would grapple. I think his skill level was just a little more than mine at that time when I was going over there. So, just for yesterday, I mean, when we did it, our instructor was not afraid to throw us.
Right.
If we were missing something, we were getting pummeled. We were getting thrown around. It was good. It was good training.
Yeah.
And I'm still feeling it right now.
Right.
I'm gonna go home and take an ice bath after this still.
Yeah, give me a second. Just make sure that sometimes it stops recording. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Better than iPhone. Can you pop one of those Sierra Nevadas for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I was curious about was, so you've worked, how long did you say you were, 10 years? You're working with people with developmental disabilities in an actual like institutionalized setting?
No, so there were residential homes.
Oh, okay.
Usually there was about 3 or 4 clients. And they were all behavioral. It was hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little different. You did have to go hands-on with them, but where we're at, we have Far Northern. I think there's 3 or 4 different ones throughout the state. So I think they all use different names, but they kind of create the policy for what you have to do.
Yeah.
Some of it works, some of it doesn't. You kind of just gotta follow those guidelines. And
Right.
It kind of sucks because a lot of those people, their pain tolerance, they just didn't have pain tolerance.
Right.
But yeah, I did that for years. I left there, I went to ILS, where I was working with, for a year, towards the end, where I was working with more high-functioning adults.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't behavioral. They lived on their own and kind of teaching them more life skills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So one thing I was curious about, because I feel like my previous experience, as a homeless liaison, actually gave me a pretty big advantage and an insight to what I'm going to be doing as a patrol officer. I feel like your experience both in the jail and in like that capacity working with adults is even more so. So I was wondering, like, what lessons do you pull from working with adults with developmental disabilities? What lessons do you pull from your time as a correctional officer? And I mean, if you could pick one, like, which one do you think applies more? Because obviously, like, okay, well, the correctional officer, that's literal law enforcement, so maybe that's more directly correlated. But maybe some of the tactics that you learn, with de-escalation and human behavior from the other job, like, applies more. So what do you draw on the most, do you think?
I honestly think my time working with adults with developmental disabilities.
Yeah.
And I remember going and doing a tour before I ever even worked for the county for another correctional facility, and was kind of giving them my experience. They're kind of like, oh yeah, like that's nothing. Like this is a whole different ball game here. And working in a jail, it's its own animal.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as taking and applying it to, going to patrol, or even taking it and applying it to when I was in the jail, it's a lot of patience. It is a lot of de-escalation.
Yeah.
It really teaches you, and it's funny because I would see like some newer officers and they would get offended in the jail if somebody used a racial slur or, was cussing at them. And I was like, wow, that's just kind of what these people do. And
Right.
honestly, when you look at adults with developmental disabilities, like, they're acting out because they don't know better. Now you're dealing with druggies that are just not in their right state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, like, having that level of patience to...
Yeah.
And it was almost one of those things that I had one sergeant particularly that it took him a little while to get used to my style.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what my style was at that time because I was like, am I failing? Am I not failing? And I think it was just something he hadn't seen. Like, they're used to training cops. And
Right.
I come from this background of it, and I kind of applied it to the jail, like, my background was this is a 24-hour facility, 7 days a week. well, the jail's a 24-hour facility, 7 days a week.
Right.
So for me, it's always been just because I have the authority to do it to make it happen quicker. Like, do I need to?
Mm-hmm.
And I think my level of patience, just because of my training and experience prior to, I'd sit there and have a conversation with these people.
Right.
And I'm not saying nobody else would. I'm just saying, like, if some drunk person came in and they didn't want to remove their necklace, and I didn't need to, I could tell them they needed to remove it, and if they didn't, like, sure, I could rip it off.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was nothing taking priority that needed our attention right then and there, like, I would spend 5 minutes, talking to them.
Right.
And I won't even say it was effective. It may have been effective 50% of the time, but even that 50% of the time, now I'm saving myself from having to wrestle this person once I do rip it off.
Mm-hmm.
Not having to go hands-on with them.
Right.
I'm not going to have to risk injury to them or me, or any of the other deputies that I was working with at the time. So to me, it was kind of like I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, it was just, yeah. It was just,
Yeah.
I mean, they're in the jail, they're secured. Cops already brought them in. They don't have weapons. I've already patted them down. I know they don't have weapons. We're in a secured place. We got a lot of people with us. Like, I just felt like that's the time. Like, slow it down.
Right. We don't have
Give
to go
them a
straight to
chance.
like
Yeah.
ask, tell, make. Like
Yeah.
we can take our time. We'll get there.
Now I can't sit in there for the next 3 hours of my shift,
Right.
But if nothing's going on, then yeah, I just want to sit there and talk to that person and see if I can't let them make that choice to take it off.
Yeah.
And some of them would be like, I'm not taking it off. I'm telling you that right now. Just rip it off, and we'll just see you
Okay.
later. So then it's like, okay, you see where they're at. You're gonna have to. But
Right.
a little drunk lady that came in that never been in trouble in her life, like, I don't want to go rip something off her neck if I don't have to.
Right. Let's make it as least traumatizing as possible.
Yeah.
And if somebody's getting booked and released, like why do the fight? And then at the same time, like somebody who's going to be staying there a while, like you showing that patience, because you're still in a position of authority anyways. Like, yeah, take your time, and you're kind of building that rapport and showing respect and dignity out the gate. So then if somebody's going to be there for 6 months, like you're getting off on the right foot, I feel like.
Right.
And obviously, like, I was never a correctional deputy, so I don't know, but that's how I feel. Like same thing, like obviously a different environment setting, and authority, like it's all very different. But as a homeless liaison, yeah, just like take your time. Like, no matter what, I'm not arresting this person. I don't have the authority to do so. Like, so let's just talk, figure it out. I have one goal, they have another one, so let's just get there together instead of creating a fight for no reason.
Yeah. And so, just getting back to that, I think really most useful, I really want to say my time with adults with developmental disabilities, just because you learn to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, that's their only job is to manipulate you, which is the same thing, people on the streets are just going to try and use that manipulation. And almost funny to a fault that helped me in the jail is, like, I know that, and I let people think they're manipulating me and play
Okay.
them, and it benefits.
Yeah.
You reap the rewards from that. I don't know how you'd apply that out in the streets, but in a correctional facility, you can just act dumb to things. Like, oh, that's that. Gotcha. Like,
Yeah.
but also being in the jail, and I mean, you hit the streets, so you know a lot of the people as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also invaluable knowing them.
Right.
So we went out on Friday. All three of us went to school together, and we took 3 people to jail. And I knew every single one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they were all so happy to see me. They're like,
Nice.
oh, hey, how you been?
Yeah.
But I think we had that conversation, too, is I don't know how that'll change when we're the ones arresting him.
Right, when the dynamic changes. That's one thing that I think about a lot is like, and honestly, I've forgotten a lot of names. Like, I know everybody's face, but I'll drive downtown like, shoot, I need to remember that person's name before I hit the streets, on Monday. But yeah, having that.
I think once you run them out, once you're on with FTO, they're going to know who it is.
Right.
And, I mean, one of the guys, too, like, I didn't remember. He remembered me. And I just couldn't put his name to his face.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Just knowing people and having that rapport from prior, I think even if we don't know their names, it's going to be it'll be valuable for sure.
That's what I'm hoping my rapport like kind of rolls over. Like, hey, this is a relationship we had when I was, the homeless liaison officer, and I was, face to face with everybody, trying to do my best to help everybody in the capacity that I was in, and genuinely, like, that's still what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help everybody in the capacity that I'm in. Now it's different, so hopefully that rapport holds up when now I have the option and sometimes obligation to take that person to jail. Like, my goal is to still provide you like with the best life possible. Like, that's what I want for everybody. Sometimes that means, like, I mean, and even as the homeless liaison officer, I knew, like, this person needs to go to jail. They need to be away from the drugs, away from the people, and they need to get their life together. Yeah. But obviously, as the HLO, I can't do that. Like, I can only motivate them to make better choices and give them resources. Now I'll be the person who actually is going to take them to jail. So hopefully I built that rapport so that they know that's still my goal. Like, I'm still trying to help you. You might hate it, but this is how it is now.
And I've had that with a few people, and I've talked to them later on, and I'm not saying any of them turned their lives around. They're still all doing the same dumb shit, but they would, like, there's people that would come in, and you see something in these people, and you're like, if you just stop doing what you were doing, you'd be fine. And, you start knowing these regular people coming into jail, and they're always asking, like, who's the sergeant on? Like, am I going to get PTA'd? Am I going to get PTA'd? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, if it was my decision, I would keep you in jail. Right. Simply because you're doing nothing for yourself right now. Right. And I said it would just be nice to sober you up and give you another chance. It's not what our jail facility's for. Right. I get that. But that's just kind of the heart-to-heart that I would have with them. Like, if it was up to me, if I was in control, dude, I'd keep you in here just because I know you ain't going to be on the whatever you're on. Right. I'd keep you here for your benefit. Yeah. And I've had a few of them later on, like, stop me and be like, hey, I was kind of confused because you always been cool with me, and then when you told me that, but I get what you were saying. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, yeah, man, you're still doing the same dumb shit. Are you going to stop doing that? Like,
so, one of the things I was thinking about today is, like, obviously, I know, like, you've already been tased. I just got tased today for the first time, and thinking about, like, academy and all the crap that you have to put up with for that, and the pepper spray and the gas chamber, and now getting tased, and people who hate you, and even the people who don't hate you are ready to judge you, and being in California, like, all these rules that seem so tedious. And I know, like, the heart is always to protect people's constitutional rights, which I'm a huge fan of. Like, I love that. I want to protect people's constitutional rights, but some of the paperwork aligned with some of the oversight seems so silly. Like, all this stuff that is just not fun to go through to do this job. One thing I've really been wanting to ask you, and like I said, when we'll get Joe on eventually and talk about it, and why. Like, because you're saying, like, for years, since, 2010 or before, you've known that you've wanted to be in this capacity in some sort. And it does make sense from, like, the DFG side, coming from a hunting background, and just kind of getting paid to be in this environment. But now on the patrol side, why is it worth it to you to do all this?
I think a lot of it stems because I don't think that I was probably halfway through high school before I decided. Okay. No, sorry. I was in high school. DFG I found very interesting, but my goal was to join the military. Okay. And DFG was something that I was looking at. Okay. And I kind of think that I timed that. Dude, I'm old. I can't even really remember. I tried getting into the military, and a surgery that I had when I was younger kept me out of it. Okay. And I think law enforcement was the second step. I was going to be here. I was going to be with my family. I was going to be able to serve. My great-grandpa served in the military. My grandpa didn't. My dad didn't. I kind of felt like we were breaking that chain. Okay. And for me, like, I don't know, just one of those things, Like, if not me, who's going to do it? Yeah. And I don't know. And one memory that strikes with me is, like, we got a officer that was killed in the line of duty at our agency. Mm-hmm. and he was growing up. He was my dare officer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, I won't say I knew him good.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I ever really had a conversation with him, but I remember him coming into class and giving us demonstrations. I think we did like a drunk driving thing one day.
Okay.
With some goggles. So I remember him, and I think when something like that happens in a small community, it's going to shake it up. I don't think it's going to matter how old you are. And
Yeah.
You kind of feel the impact on that, kind of feel for those families. Mm-hmm. And I think it just makes you want to serve a little bit more if you already have that mindset.
Yeah. So I wonder, like, what would you say is the origin of that? Because I know, like you said, if not me, who? Why is that a question in your mind? Because I know, like, there's a biblical, like, there's a verse that gets quoted a lot. You know, here am I, send me. I think I even saw it on one of the plaques on a flag in the academy. Is like, here am I, send me. And they didn't say the reference, but it is a biblical reference, like somebody telling God, like, hey, use me, like, I'm gonna go. And then there's the patriotic sense of, like, I don't know, our founding fathers, like, sacrificed so much, and we have a history of personal sacrifice to ensure the safety of others. And so there's, like, the sense of for country, and then there's the sense of, like, for community, or, like you're saying, like, there's an actual, like, personification of that sacrifice. What would you say is the driving factor? Because a lot of people have that same blessing. Like, millions of people grow up in America, and millions of people, like, read the Bible and read that verse and
Right.
have that sense of patriotism. So, like, what steers you to the point, or can you even identify, like, what steers you to the point of being like, I want to be one of those people?
I don't know, and I think it kind of ties into religion too.
Yeah.
Like, I think being younger and seeing lights and sirens going, and, like, I think growing up in a religious household, you think, like, when you see those cars going by, like, do these people know God? Do they know Jesus? Are they atheists? Like, are they putting their life on the line and could pay that ultimate sacrifice and not be saved?
Right.
And that kind of worries me, because I know that I feel like I got a relationship with God, and I hope I've lived my life in line that I'm going where I hope I'm going when I leave here. And so, yeah, I think you kind of worry about that about other people. Like, are they? I mean, we went to the academy with someone that's just like, no. And I think just that denying factor it's a scary aspect. I think if you are somebody who believes that somebody can sacrifice it all, serve their country, serve their community, pay that price, and spend a lifetime in hell.
Right.
Like, that's scary. So I think that's kind of one of the driving factors too, is like, I'm pretty certain I know where I'm going.
It's so crazy, because, like, we've talked a lot about weird coincidences and similarities that we have, but legitimately, like, when I was in the Army and I found out I wasn't deploying, like, my biggest struggle, and I, like, shed tears and lost sleep for so long, because I was just heartbroken over the fact that, like, now I'm not going to Afghanistan. And so, you know, I wasn't infantry or combat arms or anything like that, but I was working on a flight slot for Blackhawks, and Blackhawks do get shot down. And I just thought, like, I'm ready. Like, I don't want to die, but I know where I'm going. Now I'm not getting deployed, and that means, like, one of my guys has to take my spot. And that was my exact thought. Like, what if he doesn't know? Like, what if he doesn't have a relationship with God? He's not ready. And sometimes you don't get that chance, like, in those last moments to make that decision or revelation. And that just tore me up. I mean, for years, thinking about, like, there's people who are, like you said, like, they're doing the right thing for their community, for their country, for their family, living a good life. And by all of our notions of goodness and earning, like, I know you can't earn salvation, but I know you know what I mean. Like,
right.
Guys who are doing everything right and just aren't ready.
Yeah.
And so that tore me up thinking about like, yeah, people going into harm's way, not knowing that they're not ready for what comes next.
Right.
And so it's funny that like that's one of your whys, because that I think like a lot of my reasons for wanting to go into law enforcement was initially guilt driven, honestly, because like survivor's guilt or whatever you want to call it, like seeing people sacrifice when I agreed, like, yeah, I'm going to be one of you, I'm going to sacrifice with you, and then not doing that and getting out before deploying and then watching my guys go without me. And then on the next deployment, one of my friends, he does get shot down in a helicopter and he dies. I'm like, man, I hope he knew, And so just that overwhelming feeling of like, I need to be the one who's in this position because I'm good. Like, I'm going to fight like hell for my family. I'm going to come home at the end of the night.
Yeah.
But if something crazy happens, like, and that check gets cashed, like, I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
it's
that's
not a want to, or
right.
I don't care if I do, but
Right.
It's a comforting feeling knowing where you're going to go.
Yeah.
It's scary, especially when you throw your family and kids into it.
Right.
Because but I think that also just puts a little more fight in the dog.
Yep.
That I'm raising kids.
Yep.
Like I don't want to leave my kids.
Yeah.
They're too young. Like I got a lot to teach them. I got a lot of things I want to share with them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of people that don't have that, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's also kind of cool to see, like, I know you're not supposed to make church with the government, but, like, I would share a lot of that stuff and have conversations about it with people at work, and just like you, like, if we started having those conversations, while we're at work, somebody that we work with that may not have any real relationship with God, they kind of start getting intrigued and they start asking questions, and we're not preachers, but we get to share our knowledge and experience with them, and maybe that changes that person's life, and if we do nothing else the rest of our lives, like we save that person.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool to think about.
Right.
I don't know that we would ever know about it, but you don't know.
Right. I think about that a lot. Like, maybe there'll be a situation where you do talk about the actual, like, religious aspect of it, or you do mention anything spiritual. Maybe you don't. But there's days where, like, regardless of what happens today, like, this person is going to know that somebody cares.
Yeah.
And maybe that's enough. And maybe it's not. Like, you just kind of, like, all you can do is do the right thing. But even as, like, the HLO, there were times where, like, I've exhausted all my resources. Like, this person doesn't want rehab. They don't want to get out of their abusive relationship. They don't even want to live. So at this point, like, all of my government-issued resources aren't doing anything. So now we're going to be under this bridge, and we're going to sit in the mud together. And I'm going to ask, like, I got nothing to lose. Like, hey, like, what do you know about Jesus? And truly, every time I tried that, which, wasn't a lot, because like I said, I tried a lot of things and just try to personify that and act in a way that lets them know that somebody cares. But there were a few times where it's just like, hey, we've talked about everything. You tell me you do in fact want to die. Like, you're using fentanyl hoping that you don't wake up. You are making all of these choices because you feel like everybody hates you. I've told you, like, I feel like I've done everything I can. So let's just lay it all out on the table. Like, do you know Jesus? And they hate that. In every instance that I've tried it, they hated it and don't want to talk about it. But it didn't cost anything. It was worth a shot.
Yeah.
And that's one of the really cool things about law enforcement. And obviously, like, we haven't even hit patrol yet on FTO. As police officers, you and I both know absolutely nothing, and that's okay. All we're bringing to the table at this point is our hearts, and so be it. You have experience in the jail and working with adults with disabilities, and I have experience as a homeless liaison officer, so it's not like there's nothing there. But I think what is cool about this patrol aspect is, for a person of faith, and understanding, like believing in the Constitution and believing in the love and saving grace of Jesus. Like, we're missionaries in our hometown, and I love that idea.
Yeah. And it was cool seeing too, like even going through the background process, and the background investigator stopped off at my house and we're having a conversation. And I think he goes to church with my grandparents, but I'd never seen him there because I'm not a big church goer. I don't go to church that often. Got my own opinions. I remember him sitting there and telling me, like, I spent, because he's retired, he's reserve, I think.
Okay.
I don't know, part-time detective or something, but I remember him telling me, like, I spent half my career without God, without religion.
Yeah.
And he said it was nothing compared to when I found that and spent the rest of my career after that.
Really?
And just really tried to push it, which I thought was cool. And I think, I don't know, maybe some people get offended by that, but I really like that and I grasped it. And I don't know everybody, but I know even our chief that was on before that, big every Sunday in church, really by the book guy. And I think even if you are a person that you're not in that point in your life where you're religious or believe, like, the aspects and values that man held as a chief, just from aligning with that is just great aspects of how you should live your life as a human being.
Right. Like, yeah, whether your community or the rest of your department believes in it or not, and regardless of what other faiths or religions might want to say, like, if you're somebody who follows the principles of Jesus, like, that can only benefit you if you are in a role as a person who serves other people, whether it's peace officer, public service, whatever it is. Like, those principles, regardless of what you think about the structure of church or religion or whatever, like, what Jesus is teaching, like, there's no way that doesn't benefit you and your community in your role when you're expressing that.
Yeah.
But that's something, like, I struggle with a lot, and didn't go to church for a very long time because I had bad experiences in high school, and then bad experiences with some of the personnel in the Army involved in the church. And so I got out and just kind of, like, walked away from that. Like, I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to put my kids through that. And then slowly but surely trying to walk back into it. And I still have a lot of my own personal issues. But what keeps you from, like you say, like, oh, I'm not a big church guy. Why?
I just, personally, I think there's probably some good churches out there.
Yeah.
And I think the messages can be good. I think if I was going to devote time, I'd rather spend my time going to a church and doing some form of a Bible study.
Yeah.
Really digging into a section of the book and going through it in a group. It's just, I hate to say it, but I think it's a money grab. A lot of churches.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Like, when you're reading the scripture and then you're seeing pastors these days that are living in $750,000 houses. Like,
right.
I just don't see that aligning with God's values. And it's not like this is their secondary job. Like, this is their primary job.
It's their moneymaker, yeah.
They weren't appointed this position by God. I think they just kind of fall into it. And I don't know, it's just one thing that's always bothered me.
Yeah.
Is I think if you're a good pastor and you got some kind of following that you're making some side money on because you're sharing messages and have a monetary YouTube channel or something, like, cool. But as far as being in the church, being the pastor, like, I just don't.
And then having a private jet.
Yeah, and like my wife, like, she went to a church a few times that she tried, and the thing that she hated about it was, like, every time she went, it was always, like, really drilled in about, like, tithing. And I think tithing's great, but I think also that it's starting to become a money grab. Like, I don't know that we're using these monies to money to tithe at a lot of churches to really go to where it should be.
Right.
You know, like, why does the church need $400,000 this year for new band equipment? Like,
Right.
that's a fictitious number, but
Right.
I'm
As
just
an
saying,
example,
like,
yeah.
is that going to spread God's message? Like,
Right.
does the church really need that, or could the church be outside underneath a pop-up canopy, like learning about God and teaching?
Right.
About
It
God?
is hard to like, and I agree. Like, I'm super jaded, and not saying I'm right or wrong, but it is hard to like, okay, well, you got people starving, dying in the streets. Does everybody on the church staff need a new iPad? Really? And I'm not part of church administration. I'm not even like really consistent about going to church, so I'm not in a place to judge. But yeah, that's like one of the reasons. Like, well, shoot, like, you know, I question a lot of the way that our government spends our tax money. I question a lot of the way that like my church would spend my tithe money, and they're two very different things. And I should trust one more than the other. But it is hard to like trust. It's always hard to trust somebody who's asking for your money, because regardless of your heart, if you're not involved enough, you don't know their hearts. You don't necessarily. And I think there are a lot of churches who are a lot better about that, and like the church that I'm trying to get better about going to regularly, like they're very transparent with how they spend their money. They're very transparent about, you know, what they've earned and what they've spent in a year, what they've spent it on, and I think that's super important.
Right.
But it's still hard to like trust. I don't know, especially like institutional trust in general in the last 20 years has tanked, and it doesn't matter what it is. Trust in any sort of organized institution, which has definitely been reflected in trust in organized religion. Everything has tanked because there's just been so much abuse. And maybe there's always been fraud, waste, and abuse. And as internet and technology advances, we find it more and more. But it is hard to trust people. And that includes trusting the church. So then what do you do with that? Like, I remember in high school, my senior project was starting a worship team. And we had a team. We played at, you know, different events in churches, and we played in them all. But like part of that, like since I was the leader, I wanted to understand like, okay, well, what does that mean? And so I read this book that talked about a monk whose worship was in fact like washing the dishes for the entire monastery. Like his act of worship where he met with God and had that experience was washing dishes for everybody. And so it was an act of service. It was completely unrelated to what anybody would quantify as, I don't know, a measurable service or contribution. But that stays in the back of my mind. Like, okay, maybe I'm not tithing because I haven't found a church yet. And I'm not saying that I'm right. Like, I could be completely screwed up in not finding and dedicating and tithing consistently, but like, what am I doing with my time? How am I serving? Because I do love God regardless of my questions and my suspicions or like my own personal issues that keep me from being consistent in attendance or consistent in tithing. Like, what am I giving? So as another person who also has those questions and concerns, what do you do? Like personally, what do you do to maintain a relationship with God, to be showing that devotion, and to give that example to your kids? Because one of the hardest things I felt like, and was a big motivating factor to get back to church, was like, how do I show my kids that it's important? Like, how do I give them the structure and the perspective that I had growing up? Because I was very involved in church and I loved it and it was a big part of my life. But like, when I stopped going to church for 10 years while I'm raising kids, where are they seeing that in an organized fashion or in a way that, because our kids spend a lot of their lives away from us. So how do they get those examples? So like for you personally, how do you balance that?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been pretty bad. Like, we got our Kids to Children Bible, and it was kind of cool, and we were reading, you know, starting at the beginning, and we'd read a chapter, and then it'd be like this dense version for the kids that we'd be able to read through and kind of fill in more of it. And I've been pretty bad about it, and I don't even think we've read it since before we went to the academy. But as far as, like, what do you do if you're not doing that? I think that we're put in pretty good positions in this job to be able to share that with other people, you know, whether it be coworkers or You know, like you just arrested some guy, but maybe you don't even got to tell him about God, but be able to share that heartfelt message, you know, about, yeah, you might go to prison, you know, but on the bright side is you're going to get a chance to get clean.
Right.
You can come out, you know. I know one thing I would tell a lot of people in the jail that were going to prison is like, cool, you're going to prison, you got 2 felonies.
Mm-hmm.
You might be there for 6 years. You're 35 years old. And you're going to come out and have nothing. But you don't have nothing. You have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to come out clean, get healthy, start over, and you think I'm successful. You can go out and be more successful than I am because you didn't choose to be a cop.
Right.
Like, we don't choose this job to get rich because we're not getting rich. You can come out and be a millionaire if you wanted to. I don't know. Turn your life around. Be an influencer.
Right.
Help people that were in your position.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think everybody does that.
Right.
And I know, I've said it too. Like, oh, I gotta go deal with this dirt bag. But some people just have that strict, like, everybody's dirt bag, they're never going to change. And I don't think you can count that out, that people are not going to change.
Right.
But you can't trust them. You know, you're not going to let them manipulate you.
Right.
But you want to see the best in people.
Yeah.
Because they are people. And even like us talking about religion, we're probably not perfect examples of, there's people that are doing it a lot better than us.
For
I mean,
sure.
I say things that I shouldn't say, but at the end of the day, I don't even know what I want to say. It's just one of those, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you this. We're going to take an intermission because I got to pee, but I will say one thing when it goes to tithing is maybe I look at that the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should tithe and be happy about it. And what the church decides to do with that money, they do with it, and that's on them. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Fair. All right. Let's go pee.
Yeah. Pee pants. Oh, pee. Is it the door on the left or the door? Just like herpes, we're back.
I can't tell you how many times I've come home and told Nicole, like, guess what Austin said today? And she definitely thinks you're funnier than me, which is fine. You're pretty funny. But I'll just like come home and I'll start using your like catchphrases and it just blows her away.
Unfortunately, none of them are mine. I've just heard them somewhere.
Well, I don't know what it is. Like, we've grown up in the same town and we're very similar people, but dude, some of the things you say, it would never occur to me.
I don't even remember what show it was. It's a newer one because they're still making the seasons on it. Oh, the Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it was good.
So, like, people ask you something and you want to say yeah, and you're like, oh, Dolly Parton sleep on her back?
Yeah, that's
the
one.
I'd heard that a long time ago from my brother-in-law, and I thought it was funny, and so I say it all the time. And then I was watching a new episode of Mayor of Kingstown, and I'd heard this years before from him, and they said it, and I still died. I laughed so hard. I was like, oh man, I want to know where this originated from because it's hilarious. Like,
that's the thing. My wife was like dying laughing, and it's just like, well, probably not. She probably sleeps on her side. She's like, oh, we'll have to tell Hogan. He's like, no, don't tell him. That's hilarious.
Because if she slept on her side, like, it would just be counterweight. She didn't, and it just wouldn't be.
Yeah, scoliosis.
Yeah. Oh, Dolly.
Oh God. Oh, now I forgot the questions I was going to ask you again. I know, we just broke for an intermission, and like, okay, well, we're actually almost done. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is like, okay, so you're 33, had multiple careers. Obviously, I think nobody gets anywhere in life without some sort of direction or help from other people. But I still vividly remember like the best advice I've ever received in my entire life, and it's super cliche, and it was really dumb, and I can't even remember, my sergeant's name who gave me the advice, but it sticks with me forever, lives rent-free in my head. So I was curious, like, what's the best advice that you've ever received, regardless of how long ago it was or what it was pertaining to at the time? Like, is there something that somebody said to you that actually, like, still affects how you think today?
Dude, that's a good question. God, I don't know. There's one that I remember, and it was a pretty good one, but I don't think it was like a oh shit moment. Like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, I need to change. But I know, and I don't know if you've heard this one, but as I started as a correctional deputy, like one of the first things that I heard is like, "Shelby would be great. It can be a good career. There's just one thing to keep in mind: like, you lie, you die." Mm-hmm. And that is so true. Like, just in the academy, like, we've seen the guy wash out because of that. Like, they will. Everybody makes mistakes. We're humans, but you got to own those mistakes. Yeah. And I already had a pretty good grasp of that, but I think it is a good reminder and good refresher. Like, we're starting FTS. We are gonna fuck up. Yeah. But like they told us in the academy, own it, fix it, move on. Yep. That's all you can do. Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good point. I think that's... Now it seems so weird that I didn't come to this realization sooner, which I was thinking about the other day. It's actually been... So next month will be 9 years since the day that I called my wife. I was contracting for PG&E in the Bay Area at the time, and I called her in tears like, hey, I got to try to be a cop. Like, I have to at least try. Maybe it's not going to work out. That's kind of crazy. I just got to stop you for 1 second. So you're working for PG&E, and then you called your wife, and you was like, you know what, babe? Like, I think I want to work a lot more hours for a lot less pay. Yeah. And here you are. I'll let you finish. But so next month, 9 years ago, I don't know if you remember, there was a shooting in Dallas where there was I think it was 9 police officers that died. Yeah. And they ended up using a robot with C4 to detonate and take the guy out. But I got out of the Army in 2010, and I told my wife, like, hey, I want to be a cop. She's like, hell no. Like, we just got out of the Army. Like, I'm not ready for that. And she's much wiser than I am. I would have never made it through academy or passed a psych coming out of the military because I was so screwed up from not wanting to get out of the Army. Like, but even if I had gotten hired, I would have been a terrible cop. It was not the right time. She was right. But that was in 2010. Then, all those years later, 2016, I'm contracting as a data analyst for PG&E on gas leaks, living in Stockton, commuting to Concord. And that shooting happened in Dallas, and it was that same thing, that guilt of like, man, people are dying, like trying to do the right thing, and not to say anything negative about people who have those jobs, because I worked with great people. It's important work, and everybody like has a role. But I was sitting there thinking like, what am I doing? Like, I got to try. And maybe it's not going to work. Maybe I would be a bad cop, or maybe like I'm not cut out for it. Maybe I couldn't even pass academy, but I need to know that it's not because like I didn't try. And so after all of that, like, I don't bring a lot to the table, but it is crazy that it took me this long to realize that like this is a profession that I can do well at, because I don't have a lot of skills. Like, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not super charismatic. Like, all I've got going for me is the people think you look like me.
Yeah, right.
So, how's it feel to be respected as a man?
Yeah, I'm working on, I'll get there. Like, all I've got is I love people and my integrity. And certainly, like, not to say that I'm without fault. I'm a deeply flawed individual. But, like, my greatest assets are, like, I love people and I'm honest and have integrity. Like, a lot of jobs, especially like maybe even more so jobs that pay really well don't really value that. And so I've struggled in a lot of jobs because I don't have a lot else to bring to the table. So probably should have realized it a lot sooner. But yeah, being in law enforcement, like when, the chief said during my initial interview, like, yeah, you lie, you die. And obviously that's hyperbolic and it's not literal, but that idea of like above all else, like your integrity must be maintained. Like,
yeah,
sweet. Finally something that like makes sense to me. Like,
right.
And so that advice was something to hang on to.
And I got to ask you too, I feel like it's a double-edged sword when you talk about like this sense of service, like something that I need to do. And I don't know if you feel this way, but like for me, when I think of like that sense of service part of that is I'm doing it so my kids don't have to.
Mm.
And I wouldn't stop my kids, but I would try and steer them in a different direction. And we haven't even started, but just being around it's like, I wouldn't want them to do it.
Yep.
Maybe their kids, maybe my grandkids, maybe we skip a generation.
Right.
Maybe
just not my kids.
Have a good job and raise good kids.
Yeah.
And then their kids can decide what they want to do.
Yep. Yeah, I think about that. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with our profession, but like I've maintained that advice, especially with my oldest, who's 16. Like, it's like, yeah, I want you to love people. Like, I want you to have all the characteristics about me that make me want to do that job. But please, for the love of God, like my daughter, do not join the military. Do not become a cop. Yeah. Like, and if she does, I will support her. And like I said, I'm proud of my service, like in the Army, and I'm very grateful and proud to be able to serve my community through the police department. And so, yeah, if that's where she ends up, so be it. And I'll be very proud of her. But like, yeah, it's like, don't do it. Like, yeah. Want the good for everybody else, want to serve other people, but find another way to get paid doing it.
Just like you said, you respect the people who did the kind of work that you did.
Exactly.
We need all those people. Right?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, we're held to higher standards, but what we got is a job and a paycheck.
Right.
And we need to conduct ourselves accordingly and in a professional manner. But, I mean, look at truckers. Like, what would we be eating if we didn't have truckers?
Exactly.
Like, I don't even know that anybody's growing anything here in our city that's
right.
going to support all the citizens. Like,
yeah, I think, and that's one of the huge benefits for like people getting into this profession in our age bracket. Is like you're granted this like authority and power late in your adulthood, or at least later.
Right.
So like I don't look down on anybody who's doing DoorDash to make a living, because I've done it. Like I tried to make ends meet doing food delivery, like, or somebody working construction, or a job that they hate, or a job that they know they can't promote in, or like phone customer service. Like I'm not better than any of those people because I've been those people and I was still the same human being that I am now. Like it's just a different job. And I think that's such a valuable understanding to have, like walking into law enforcement. And I think like we have very young people, at least I don't know, from my perspective, we have very young people in our department.
Yeah.
And they're incredible cops.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably just naturally better human beings than me, because I know like if I was a cop at that age, I probably wouldn't have been nearly as good as they are now. So like for them, it's working out and it's great. And they're learning these lessons as they go. They're able to take on this mantle of responsibility at a much younger age. But for me, like, I think I needed all that. I needed to be dirt poor in a job where everybody hated me, and I still like worked my butt off and still couldn't provide for my family, to understand that like now I'm going to get into this position where I'm going to have a lot of authority, like more than is a normal capacity for an average citizen. And now I have that understanding that there is no us versus them. There's not like I'm better as a taxpayer than this person as a taxpayer. It's just like, man, we're all just trying to like get through and hold society together as a team. This is my role. This is your role. Let's work it out. Like,
and I feel the same way. Like I don't think that my values changed or my mindset changed. What I wanted to do changed. But thinking about like 21, regardless if it was out on the streets or in the jail, like I probably would have failed out. I think at that age, I was probably more like timid.
Mm-hmm.
Never really been in a fight. Well, actually, I'm sorry. At 21, I probably would have been all right because I started NVS at
Right.
18 working with those people, and that's where I first got exposed to having to fight people and wrestle with them and deal with that sort of thing. But I mean, at even 18, like, oh man, like there was some parts of me that I was hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't, it was delayed. Like I was really like, oh shit. Like they talk about that OODA loop, and
Right.
first time I've been in a fight was then. Like I was a fairly good kid. Like I wasn't getting in fights. Didn't have any of that experience. So yeah, same thing. Like, yeah, we're older, but I couldn't have asked for a better time to have started this career than now.
Right. Which, I mean, I think that brings me kind of to my last question. It's like, say somebody's watching this, when it first releases or years from now, like, and there's somebody watching this who's another Austin, and he's getting ready to start this journey, whether he had the same start or not, maybe he's married, maybe he's single, like whatever it is, like, is there anything that you're coming to learn now that you wish, like, oh man, if I could go back a few years in the past and tell yourself, like, hey, do this or don't do this or don't stress about this, like, what advice would you have given yourself if you could go back in time and be like, hey, like, this is what you need to know now, and it would have set you up better off?
Yeah, I would say go ahead and go be a lineman. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think definitely if you know that this is the career that you're geared towards going, like, don't waste time.
Yeah.
I think I wasted a lot of time where I could have been building a lot of skill.
Right.
Even working with adults with developmental disabilities, like, that's going to give you good experience. You're taking a job that's similar to what you want to do. Be proactive. Go out and train. Like, I wish I would have trained more. Like, I think I'm all right, but I think I could be a lot better, and a lot of that stems just from you wait. You're like, I don't know if this is going to happen, and that may be part of the reason why it's delayed so long, because you're not telling yourself, hey, this is what I'm going to do. You're kind of like, this is what I hope to do, I want to do.
Right.
And so I'd say don't do that. Train for the job you want, not the job you have, but make sure that you maintain integrity in the job you do have.
Right. Yeah, just commit to the end goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was bad about that. I'm not a runner. And I don't think I was as bad as some people that I seen, but I'll say I was pretty lazy in the fact that I'm getting older and I didn't want to commit. I still hate running. But I would wait until, the county would... I would. I'd wait till they flew it. And once they flew, like, hey, we're sponsoring, I'd be like, oh shit,
I'm better start running.
And then I'd go out and I'd start running, which still was plenty of time, and I knew the time slot, so I was prepared by it. But I mean, I would see some people wait till 2 weeks before they knew they were going to test.
Yeah.
And I'd say don't be them, but don't be me neither. You know what you want to do, focus on that.
Yeah.
Because it is something that you should maintain, even throughout your career. I don't know. I'd like to know more about this wrecking stuff. That's why I bird hunt and wreck.
There you go.
I get my
Yeah. It's so funny that, like, some people just know from, like, such a young age, like, oh yeah, like, they'll be 8 years old. Yeah, I'm going to do this someday. And they just literally, like, they'll stay on that track. And then they become an adult and they go do the thing. And that's just, like, an A to B trajectory. And it just makes so much sense. And I used to envy that. I still certainly respect it. It's incredible, and I love those people who just know. But man, like, you mentioned go be a lineman. Like, my grandpa was a lineman. He retired as a lineman. My dad was a lineman for 20 years and retired from PG&E. And then I, like, well, shoot, that just makes sense. So I went and tested to be a lineman. I did the interview process, and I was like the 800th applicant and 1,300 applicants, and so I waited, but I had just gotten married. Like, well, I'm too poor to just sit and wait for the phone call. Like, so I joined the Army, And then a week after I signed my contract, PG&E called and offered me a job to be a lineman.
Dude, you'd have been rich.
What could have been?
Yeah, that rich money.
Yeah. It's just like, shoot, yeah, if you're a lineman.
You wouldn't be doing your own podcast. You'd be on Joe Rogan's right now.
Yeah, I could have been on somebody else's podcast getting
Drinking
paid.
Mai Tais in the morning. No, it is, though, and I do get that. Like, even, I think getting a job at an agency, like, for me, it was the ERO. Like, I knew my foot was in the door. I knew I was committed at that point. But you're right. Like, even for me, like, being in the jail, and you're putting in the years, you're putting in the hard work, you're putting in the hours, you're missing out on a lot of family events, different things going on. You are losing time with your family, and that's not even your end goal. Your end goal is you want to go patrol. And not everybody. There's a lot of people in the jail, just like at our department, that are CSOs that want to maintain that, right? Like I know at least one that was their intent: foot in the door, go be a cop,
right?
Love the job as a CSO and want to stay there. And same as the jail, but it is like when you're that guy that you're like, I'm in the jail, I want to be a cop. And then you see other agencies, and your agencies from guys that went out and just were able to bite the bullet and self-sponsor themselves.
Right.
And they're coming in, they're like 21, and you're like, dude, I'm 33, like,
yeah.
WTF.
Yeah.
So that is another good piece of advice if you want to be a cop. Like, if you're younger and you know that you've committed and devoted your time to it, and you can go self-sponsor, self-sponsor.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I wish... So I was actually lined up to go to the academy self-sponsor because the agency I was working for at the time, like, I knew for a fact they were not going to sponsor me. Whatever the situation was, like, if I'm going to be a cop, it's not going to be with this agency because they don't see me that way. And I had applied for recruit positions, and it just wasn't working out. Like, okay, well, I'm going to put myself through. And I had filled out the applications. I was getting ready to start, and I got hurt. And so that, like, took that away. And it felt so impossible to self-sponsor. But honestly, like, if you know that that's what you want, it's just like anything else. Like, I mean, people go into $100,000 in debt to get the degree that they want with absolutely no guarantee that anybody gives a crap about your degree. So if you want to be in law enforcement, like, sometimes it can feel, if you come from money or you've got family who's going to be like, yeah, go for it, I'll pay for you, like, then it feels easier. But sometimes it's like, this is all on me, and it feels impossible. It's just, even for me at the time when it felt impossible, it's just not. Like, there's literally, like, student loans that you can get for police academy, just like college, that they'll pay for the training, they'll pay, for your housing, whatever it is. Like, there's funding to help make it through. And even more so, like, if you're somebody who's in the military and you have your GI Bill or vocational rehabilitation, whatever it is, like, all of that, mostly government funded. But I'm just saying, like, if you want it, there's a way to make it happen. So like you said, like, if you know what you want and you're not questioning it, then just go for it. Like, and hopefully that means that somebody picks you up. But if an agency doesn't pick you up, that doesn't mean that you're not meant to have this job. It just means that you got to work harder. Yeah, exactly. Like, I wasn't meant to be with that agency, and maybe I will someday down the road. I don't think so, and that's okay. Like, it's nothing against them, and it's nothing against me. But now I'm grateful that they didn't sponsor me, like, because that's not where I fit in. And I still, I ended up not having to self-sponsor. I went through a completely ridiculous, long, winding other road to get there, and sponsored by another agency. But, like, if you know what you want, just go for it. And sometimes that means a lot of sacrifice that feels like you can't make it through. But if you actually already know your goal, then you're way ahead of a lot of other people who not only don't know how to get to where they want to go, they don't even know where they want to go. So if you got a passion or a goal, then you're already ahead of the game, and just go for it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's easier to do earlier in life than it is later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta wrangle Joe into one.
I know he'll have a good time.
I think it'd be, if we weren't working for an agency and we could sit down and do, like, a podcast with no filter, like, that'd be pretty good. But we gotta have a filter and, like,
screw it. Like, I filter some things because, like, not only are we on probation, we're on FTO, so we are super easy to get rid of. But, like, I don't know if you've seen, like, Angry Cops. is a YouTube channel.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like a drill sergeant and also a police officer and investigator for Buffalo Police Department.
yeah.
He says whatever the hell he wants, and he's
No
awesome. So like, once you get past probation,
Like the ARO that I was working with, they're that trained me. Like she started a TikTok and was
Mhm.
posting stuff during work, or not during work, but she was like taking videos and then she'd bring it back and like put some stuff on her TikTok, like
Yeah.
animals she saved and whatnot. And she was actually starting to gain monetary value from it. And they told her she couldn't do it. They got all that
Oh,
stuff.
really?
Yeah. She didn't have the patches in there or anything.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's kind of cool.
yeah,
And I get that you don't want her making extra money, which you shouldn't really matter. But it's cool for people who are interested in the job, right? Like,
right,
yeah, they got cops live. How many animal regulation officers live do they have?
right,
So I thought it was cool. I was like, that's awesome.
yeah.
You should
I
keep
think
doing
about.
that.
I mean, I don't want to be like a cop influencer, but I do want to have this podcast for a long time, and someday I hope to make money off of it. And I actually got inspiration from guys like Mike the Cop or like Donut Operator, Angry Cops. Like, so as long as you know your policy and you stay within that and you respect privacy of your coworkers and your family, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I have read our social media policy pretty extensively multiple times to make sure that I'm not going to violate it. And even if I know I'm not violating it, if I mention something, I might ask a supervisor, like, hey, like, this came up. I was talking to a coworker on the podcast. Like, what do you think of that? If they're cool with it, great. Like, and I, like you said, like, I think that's valuable to the general public to humanize and like weirdly build rapport in a digital capacity, but also for people who are curious and want to go into that profession, like to understand that it's just people, like,
Right.
and people who maybe have the same, maybe have different political or spiritual or backgrounds that are different than yours, and it's all, I don't know, it's sometimes I feel like people think that like people in law enforcement, first responders, and military, they come out of a factory, and like you just are born with these like default settings. And so stuff like this where you get to just have a conversation, have a beer, and talk about stuff, like it just shows people whether you dislike that profession or whether you want to go into that profession. It just
Right.
makes it more real and relatable regardless about how you feel about it. So I think there's
Yeah.
value in it. And like I say, you still have to respect your policies, respect your coworkers. Like I never want to bring up protected information. I never want to bring up a coworker's name who doesn't feel comfortable with that, but I don't know. And especially for me who has a podcast that like at this point in time very few people listen to, like I'll say what I want and nobody will ever really know.
Yeah.
Like,
One thing I forgot to ask you, we'll save it for when Joe gets here, so I don't even want to know your answer. So it's Rob, but I forgot to bring it up. I was going to bring up like what you thought on the prison systems, because I don't think they fucking work. I think to an extent, and we can have a whole conversation on that. But also because you live in the city, like I live in the storages, and there is many people that know I'm a cop that have been inmates and know I live there. Right? They like know my hours. They know my wife and my family's there. Like. So that'd be a good conversation just to open up in and kind of dig into too.
Yeah, I actually have a lot to say about that, so I'll save it to when we can drag Joe in here. All right, well, I waited till 8 o'clock. It's still over 100 degrees outside, so I'm just going to get this over with. I actually forgot to record an outro for the last one, and the episode ended up coming to such an abrupt end, I had to say something. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, there's probably going to be a lot more content like that as we grow throughout this process. At this point, Austin and I are about to wrap up phase 2 of our training. So if you have any questions, like I said, go ahead and leave a comment or reach out somehow. Thank you guys for sticking with it. I know I'm a little out of practice. It's been so long since I've recorded anything, so this episode might be a little rough. So I appreciate the grace and for you guys who have watched these episodes for sticking with it. Like I said, I always appreciate you guys tuning in. Take care.